Yo, what's good, guys? Ooh, corny ass. So I consider myself a gamer, right? And I play video games. And as a gamer, I've had interactions with other gamers. You know, when you come across another gamer, you usually ask them the classic question of, what game have you played? Now, this one guy, I asked him, what game do you play? And he ends up answering, I play League of Legends. So immediately I'm like, oh, this guy's a loser! This guy plays League of Legends! I'm like, what else do you play? And he's like, Genshin Impact. And I'm like, oh my god. This guy's a loser. It's never that deep. And then someone asked me, oh yeah, what game do you play? I play Elden. So he's like, oh, so you got a lot of free time. And I'm like, what? I wish, man. And now suddenly I've come to the realization that, you know, not all stereotypes are true. So yeah, basically, the big question is, what is the extent of these stereotypes that lie deep within the gaming industry? Researcher Joshua Stone published a paper looking at how PC players are perceived by the gaming community, how console players are perceived by the gaming community, and how mobile players are perceived by the gaming community, right? And when he was looking into this, he found a very interesting pattern. People often assume that PC players are the most competent gamers, right? So there's already assumptions layered in skill level just based off of what you play on. Right? Then you have second to PC players, you have console players. And lastly, you have mobile players. An assumed ranking based off of whether or not you're a PC player, a console player, or a mobile player. What's really interesting is that PC players were seen as less friendly, right? Console players were in the mid-range in friendliness. Then on top of that, mobile players seemed the most friendly. What's more interesting about this is that these assumptions were seen a lot more frequently than any other assumption. And what I mean by other assumption is like gender identity assumptions. Which is a pretty big problem within the gaming community, right? So moving on from that, we have a study that observed how the perception of gamers differed based on whether the games they played were violent or non-violent. Ow! So the results are pretty straightforward. If you play like a violent game, you're seen as less friendly, right? And you're also seen more morally cold. For some reason. So yeah, non-violent gamers were seen as more friendly. They're seen pretty moral, and then they were graded a little bit higher in competence. Now, this game is considered a little violent, right? Oh my god, So my opinion on this is that it's not true. But it shows that there definitely are these assumptions that, you know, based off what you play, you're this. So what we're finding is that there's a lot of, oh, if you play X, then you're Y, without any foundation behind it. But what if there are foundations, right? With all of these assumptions about people's personalities and how they interact with the gaming world, can they be true? According to a 2023 study, yes, they actually can. When we go back to the violent games assumptions, the researchers found that combat games actually correlated to the personality type of openness, right? Music games correlated with agreeableness, and online games correlated with extroversion. This seems like crazy. Maybe stereotypes can sometimes, well, maybe some assumptions about games who play certain games can be true. Not exactly. Because the problem with that is that maybe there is a little bit of a correlation, right? But there's a big but. The problem is that the correlation is very small. It's not enough to make assumptions on such a large scale, even if they're, you know, good assumptions, not bad assumptions. That doesn't change anything. There's still stereotypes at its core. So now's the big question. Can these assumptions be dangerous, right? Can they affect anyone on a scale that, you know, we as a society don't really want? And the answer is, it's not actually that deep. But it can be. It can get a little annoying. But when it's on the scale that, you know, the gaming industry is at right now, it can make it a little difficult for people to be open about which games they play. But if we take it to a lot bigger of a scale, then things can get a little rough, right? For example, back in 2020, when Fortnite first became really, really popular, all of a sudden, there was a lot of kids where whenever they told anyone that they played Fortnite, they would be labeled as an addict. It sounds crazy, but it's true. It's genuinely what the popular opinion was throughout, you know, a lot of parents and teachers, that Fortnite is this scary, addictive game, because back then it became so popular so fast, and that's all people would do. But just because it was a good game at the time. They just saw it as like some weird addicting game. Some students reported to the researchers that their teachers said exactly, and I quote, "We shouldn't be playing Fortnite. It's like bad for our education." And it's pretty easy to spread like false information like this, where especially the researchers like clarify that like, no, Fortnite is not some scary addicting game, but it was perceived as like this thing where if you play Fortnite, your education is going to go down. That was the assumption. And so when we're looking at such a large scale, I feel like the only important call to action would be to just genuinely like acknowledging that these are stereotypes that are not true and are unlikely to be true as well. So there's actually not a lot of research on this topic, and the reason is because it's not seen as much of a serious topic, and it's not, to be fair. it's not the craziest thing in the world, the fact that everybody assumes that League of Legends players are losers. But at the end of the day, it probably does affect you. Right? So, people might be extra shy because of the fact that, oh, people see League of Legends players as losers. Right? And so, kind of the main takeaway from this is, you know, how are you contributing to this? Do you automatically assume anything whenever someone tells you, oh, I play Minecraft? But yeah, at the end of the day, guys, stereotypes are bad. Oh my god! Yo, it's flying! Push. And that, guys, is my video, I say. Thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna go home now.